Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, July 28th, and you are here for actually Foundation Google Series Part 1. And this part is on the Chrome browser. So allow me to introduce myself because I don't know all of you. And most of you don't know me. I know a couple of you. I've seen you around, aka you've taken a course with me before. Um, my name is Bond, Virginia Bond, Bond like James, Virginia like the state, and I work for NARIC as an ISS Integration of Technology Training Specialist. I actually live in Malone, and I am based for the time being out of Plattsburgh, basically due to the fact that the internet's a little better. It's a quiet space. My kids are older, but nothing like your 23-year-old daughter popping into the middle of a training, to just ask a question about her house. So we decided finally it made more sense for me to come here to do my trainings. So I am going to put the link to today's session in the chat, and you will be able to click it from there. So let me give you a little bit of a underscore of what this training series is really about. This is for those people who have not used Google much before, or have and kind of have dabbled and kind of want to pull their skills up in all of the pieces. And these are really beginner courses. They're for people who want to like kind of level set where they are, make sure they're comfortable using the Google components. Most of them will take under an hour, even though I've left an hour for each of them, with the exception of tomorrow's, which is an hour and a half, because what I did is I took 2 sessions and I put them together, Google Drive and Google Sharing, so that it would make more sense. That one's a little tight, but the rest are an hour, and probably less. All right, so here we go. We're gonna do some basics and then we'll move through there. Now, if you click on that link, that will allow you to get these materials. I always record the sessions, and when I get the video back from WebEx, I will do your attendance, and then I will send you a link to the file that you're looking at, and a link also to the video so that you have both for reference later. All right, so last things first, next, let's do that. Make sure you sign into the chat. So at the bottom of your screen where you see me, there should be like bubbles, and you want to click the one that's a speech bubble, and you want to type your name in the chat box. So even though I muted you, you are able to use the chat box for any kind of question that you may have as we work through today. There's no question too small, no question too big, and I'll go at the speed that you need, although I think we got it. So here's our learning targets for today. I'm going to have you understand the importance of using and logging into the Chrome browser versus another browser, understanding the layout of the browser, know how to get to your settings, and be able to create bookmarks. Now, those seem like really small things, but quite honestly, this series is built around the concept of building those skills and the idea of being as efficient as possible, because that's what I want you to be. I want you to be able to claim time back for yourself, for your students. A lot of these pieces that I'm going to show you today are pieces that will make sense to teach students as well. I think as we walk into our next couple of months, being unsure about really where we are as a whole, because we're not sure where we're going to be as far as teaching. Good morning, Kara. We're not really positive of what that's going to look like. Level setting your students is going to be super important. A lot of these things are just going to be tricks and tips that I've learned along the way. So here we go. First things first. Kara, I put the link in the chat, not the chat in the link.
Okay.
And here we go. All right. So why should you be using Chrome? And actually, what is Chrome? What is a browser? So a browser, when we step back and we think about what it means to browse, it means to look. and why should we be using the Chrome browser versus some of the other browsers. You'll notice down at the bottom on my taskbar that I have other browsers available. I have Mozilla Firefox. I also have Edge as an option, but I keep it tucked away because I need it very rarely. So I have other browsers. A browser is what is going to allow me to look at the internet. So one of the great things about using Chrome is that Chrome is actually built by Google. They built the browser, and it was very specific in its purpose to kind of move it forward with the tools that Google designs. It is very device agnostic. That means that I can use it on my phone, on my Chromebook, on my iPad, and on my laptop. And they should all work very, very similar. And that kind of comes to the next one. They should look the same everywhere. Well, and I say it like that, what kinda, because an app always has a different feel to it, especially like an iPad app always has a different feel, and a mobile app has a little different feel. They are customizable, and when I say that, it means like this up here. So these are extensions. I can add extensions. I can do add-ons. One of the best things about Chrome, and I think this is actually true now of all the browsers that are out there, I can actually come up into any tab and I can type a question. What is the weather in Albany, New York? Okay, so I'm going to just put that question right up there at the top. What's the weather in Albany, New York? And you'll see that it's going to show me right there. I can get an answer right from typing into the address bar. Now, hi Joe.
Good morning.
10 years ago, that was a problem. You couldn't do that. You couldn't type in the address bar. I used to have to tell my little people as I was teaching tech, no, you can't write sentences up there. That doesn't work. You have to put addresses, and there's no spaces, and there's no capital letters, and there's no punctuation. Rules are all off the table now, right? So the benefit of that really is I can do that on my phone especially, right? I know a lot of people still use Siri. I have never really gotten into Siri even on my iPhone. I will still just go to Chrome, open it up, and I will just type a question in the first tab I see. Doesn't necessarily have to be in Google. So that's a huge benefit of being able to do that. I also have this special thing called incognito window, which we will come back to. So what is an incognito window? So as soon as I click it, it's going to take me to like what we call the dark. I call the dark tab, going to the dark side. So, and if you read what or look at the picture, it's like a hat and glasses, because basically if you go incognito, you kind of hide yourself. So some districts allow incognito mode and some districts do not. That is definitely a district decision about how that is worked. Most districts will not allow incognito mode for students. And the reason is this: it doesn't save their browsing history. So for students, we want to know where they've been, because those little duffers can get in trouble if we don't watch where they've been. But for teachers and for adults, it's a really good thing. So what should we be using incognito mode for? So banking is a really good thing to do in incognito mode. So like if I wanted to go to the bank, so I'm going to just type in the address for my bank up here, right? And I mean, I don't care if you all know where I bank, right? So I use the community bank, which is based up here. And if I went here and I was going to do my personal banking, and if I was in incognito mode, anything that I typed in here, my usernames and passwords would not be stored. So that's a really good thing to do. Online shopping, if you're using a school computer, if you can online shop at school, and you want to go to Amazon, and you want to do that, that's a good thing to do. Christmas shopping for your kids, because like my kids are a little sneaky. They one time got into my history and kind of looked to see what I was looking for them for Christmas, right? It's a good way to be able to search and not have the information that you're looking for be saved. So it's extremely fast, and I put this little trick right here. It's called, what is my browser? There are many times we are asked, like, what rendition are you using? And you're like, I don't know, right? So you can type in, what is my browser? And it will take you to this website called, what is my browser? Oh, look at that, my browser's out of date. Of course it is. And that's why I like it, because it will tell me when I need to update my browser. So for me, which I updated last week, this is how I keep my Chrome up to date on my laptop. On my Chromebook, I just have to restart my Chromebook. As soon as I restart my Chromebook, it will do the update and it will pull through an update. And if you have students using Chromebooks, that's a good thing to know. And it's a good practice to get into with your students is make sure they're updating or restarting, not closing the lid, not shutting down, but a restart of Chrome. So a restarting of the Chromebook will restart the browser and will reset the browser and give you the latest and greatest. And this is why. The Chrome browser or the Chrome OS in on a Chromebook stores two renditions of Google Chrome. The front one, so this one with my pointer, the front one is the one you're using, and the one on my thumb is the one that is the newest, the latest and greatest. So while this one's running, it's downloading this one. Restart them, they switch, and my thumb becomes the one that you're using, and my pointer becomes the one that's going to update to the new one. So it's always running two versions, but the restart will fix it, and a restart on a Chromebook will fix 99.9% of the problems unless it has been physically broken. So that is very, very helpful. The other thing that I really, really love about using the Chrome browser is that when I log into Chrome, which is up here, and we're going to discuss that in a minute, it allows me to have my bookmarks anywhere. So my phone, when I use the Chrome browser right up in here, and I just come back in here, if I want to, on the Chrome browser, my bookmarks will be exactly the same as what I have on my laptop. So that's a huge benefit. It's a huge benefit if you're a teacher who moves from room to room to room and have to use, I know that as soon as I said that, I thought, oh, wouldn't that be nice right now, right? If you have to move in different spaces and you want your bookmarks to be the same in different places, that's why you would do that. If you use more than one device, that's why you would want that. It's also how you get the things that you have at home on your computer at school if you want them. Like if you do work at home and you need it to be on your computer at school, logging into the browser will make that happen. So let's talk about these two magic logins. So if I come here and I come to a new tab, I come up to the top, my blank tab automatically defaults to Google. So I have a login for Google, which is right here, right? So if I come over here, you'll see this is the Google account that I'm using, and I have other Google accounts assigned to it. And I will sign in. I have signed into my first account, which is my kvirginiabond@gmail.com. That is my default account. It's my lead account with my Chrome, with my Google and my Chrome. The account that you log into first during the day is going to be your default account for the day. We're going to come back to these circles because that's going to be important, the avatars, in a few minutes. So that is my Google login. This login over here across the top to Chrome is my Chrome login. They are two different things on a laptop and on a desktop computer. Now, on my Chromebook, which I forgot, and it's across the room, and I'm just going to grab it really quickly. Sorry, the blank screen. On my Chromebook, when I pop my Chromebook open and I get my login screen on a Chromebook, which I think will pop up right, yeah, it will. It's kind of loading. When I get a screen on a Chromebook here, manage school devices, manage Chromebooks It is one login. When I log in here, it will automatically log me into Chrome and to Google at the same time. Many laptops are like that too. Districts have made that decision that it makes it easier for teachers to be able to navigate. So when you're at most school devices, not all, but most, will have one login on a school device. And the reason for that is they want you to use school resources for school work, and that all makes sense, I think. So the Chrome login is going to give you access to the browser components. So all of these pieces up here, and that's what history will be saved. The Google login is going to give you access to your Google Drive and your G Suite. So any of those in the spring, we saw a lot of teachers, and not teachers, I take that back. A lot of parents struggle with this, and students struggle with this as well. They may have been sharing a device with a parent, and the parent was logged in up here. And that's because in a lot of cases, the Chrome browser will override the Google account. So that's just something to keep in mind. You will notice probably as I work through today, I will toggle to another account. I can toggle through my account. So right here, I can toggle into my NARIC account, and you'll see that the picture changed. So now they don't match. I have the ability to toggle back and forth, but you'll see that it now says here that my K Virginia bond is my default account. And that's because it's the first one I log in with. So I can toggle back and forth between the two accounts. I can do it pretty easily. I find that it can be very confusing for some teachers, but I'll explain why in a few minutes. So let's kind of walk through the components of Google, of the Chrome browser. So this screenshot is really, really helpful, but there's one piece here that has been deprecated. So the thing we have to remember about Google and Chrome is that it changes all the time. And I'm really sorry, and I wish there's a control of the world, but I can't fix that. And today's the day. Tuesday, Google changes on Tuesday. So most changes that are going to come through are going to come through on a Tuesday for you. The reason for that is because they're trying to take into account everyone worldwide. Monday's not a good day, so they roll on Tuesdays. So if you see things look different all of a sudden, don't freak out. It wasn't a massive change. It was a small change. And you may see, like on social media, that changes, like somebody got a change in their rendition of Google, but you're like, hey, I didn't get that. I don't understand. What are you talking about? For example, sharing changed in June. My account, my personal account that I'm using right now, always has, like, I get first round changes. That means as soon as they're made, I get them, and that's because I'm a Google trainer. So we get to see them first. We usually get about a 4-week head notice up that they're coming. So I saw the sharing before it happened. There was a sharing change in the way things are shared. But there's a 3-week window. So Waterville could get it different than Mohonasen, could get it different than Albany, could get it different than Schenectady. So it just depends on where you are, where your district is, and kind of the list. Love to say it's alphabetical. It's not. I swear to gosh, just some random, they throw stuff up in the air and they say, okay, you get to go first. There's really no reason for it, but just so you understand that that's how it works. That being said, some things are deprecated. So what do I mean by deprecated? Just kind of like it sounds like. If it's deprecated, it's gotten rid of. It no longer is an option within Google because Google's constantly changing. And one of those is this little thing right here. So I'm actually going to put a shape around this. I'm going to grab my red circle right here, and I should have grabbed that. I should have thought about it last night, but of course I did not. I'm going to take my circle right there. Apps are being deprecated. Okay, so apps late last year, stopped being able to be purchased through the web store for a laptop. They no longer exist. I used to have an app launcher over here. No longer is available. And they said Chrome was going to go, the Chromebook apps are also going to be deprecated. So the option for an app launcher is leaving. And the reason behind that, you're still going to be able to get extensions, you're going to get add-ons, is because really apps are websites. So they just want people to go to the website. It's very rare that you'll see an app functionality exist. That being said, the Google apps, Docs, Slides, Sheets, those are also going to exist. So I know that can be a little confusing, but hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so the next thing you see are the bookmarks, and there are bookmarks right here on what we call the bookmark bar. So this is the bookmark bar, and you may see it or you may not see it. So if you don't, we're going to show you how to get to it in a few minutes, but I will make it go away. So the 3 dots, 1, 2, 3, and we'll talk about the names for those. That can be called the traffic light, the snowman. I tend to call it the there's more stuff light spots because it is very helpful so you know what's there. In there is a bookmark option. And if I turn off my bookmark bar, yours may look like that. I'm going to turn mine back on because that is a feature that I absolutely love is my bookmark bar. Then the address box is actually called the Omni box or the Omni bar. It is called either one. And it's because all things for all people all the time. Okay. So you can do all kinds of things in there. You can do more than just type in an address, type in a question. I can also do a timer for 10 seconds. Let's do a 10-second timer. And that will pop in. You'll notice as soon as I typed it in, up here, it did a search box. Google's like, oh, you want to search for something? Sure, we can make that happen for you. And I will get a timer. It should go off. I've turned off the sound so you can't hear it because it's deafening. But that's a nice quick timer so you don't have to have another one. And there's all kinds of other things you can do. You can look up maps. You can look up, you can do a map lookup. You can do, there's some things called Easter eggs that I'm going to show in some of the other sessions, but not today. Some other little tidbits that are in there. Next to your Omnibox or your address bar, you have your extensions. So if you have any extensions installed, you may not have any installed. You may not know how to install extensions, but I'm going to show you how to do that in another session. They are over here. I only have some showing. I have lots and lots and lots of extensions, lots and lots and lots of extensions. The next piece over is if I'm in Google, which is right here. Pop out, I have my waffle. So, and that is, they actually don't call it the waffle. There was a huge conversation last night on Twitter, which was really kind of funny about what people call certain things. I thought waffle was the Google term. It totally is not. They call it the Chrome app launcher. I'm sticking with waffle. I like it much better. And the last 3 dots, the ones that I alluded to before, they call, this is the browser menu. Some people call it an ellipse. Some people call it a traffic light. In the North Country, we tend to call it the snowman because that fits us. Someone called it the cupcake. There's more stuff here is what I tend to call it spot, because once you get used to going to the ... you'll know that there's always more stuff there. Okay, and then when you're in Google, you may also see down at the bottom, so if I open a new tab, you will see my frequently visited sites. Mine come as circles, not as squares like they show here. So that's the basics. And then when I come over, we've already talked about incognito window, and then we are going to come to some of these other tools as we go. So the app, so bloop, bloop. So here's the real description. So there are still apps being used in the Chrome store. So you will see here, if you're on a Chrome OS, Chrome apps will work until June 2021. So this is on the Chromebooks. Chrome apps will work until next June. You'll see that all apps were discontinued for laptops, They are no longer, you cannot purchase them or even get them. So if I go to the web store, which is chrome.google.com/web store, there's no longer an app function, even if I'm on my Chromebook. I think you can do it on a Chromebook. So the web store looks a little different depending on the device you're on, just so we know that. And Android apps are going to stay available through the Google Play Store. Okay, so we already did this. So we can do questions, we can do timers. There's lots of other things that you can add in there. I've just kind of done this quicker. So bookmarks. So when we talk about bookmarks, there's all kinds of ways that you can put bookmarks in. So I think a lot of people, and I'm just going to go to, let's go, I'm going to use KVB. So I'm going to use my Google site. So you can just see. So here's my Google site, and maybe I want to make a bookmark of this, right? So I can come over. There's a couple easy ways to do this, but some simpler ways than others. I can click on the star, which will add a bookmark, and it'll say, where do you want to put it? And then you have options, right? I have different places that I can put it. So I'm going to put it in KVB, which is a folder that I have on my bookmark bar. Okay. So I could also bookmark it again, and I could move it to a different place. I could put it into my other bookmarks, and I have folders of bookmarks, right? Lots of folders. And you'll see that I have lots of folders of bookmarks here. So we're all pretty used to those, but there's better ways to use bookmarks now than just that. And that is where I believe the power of the bookmark bar, comes in. So to see that bookmark bar, I will come over to my snowman. I will click on it, and I will go to the section called bookmarks. It'll pop out to the side. It gives me options. I can bookmark the tab, I can bookmark all my tabs, or I can show my bookmark bar. I want to have that checked right there. So when that's checked, I will see this bar down here. So why do I like this so much? Because I can do this. I can grab my lock, and I can pull the lock down into the bookmark bar. You can see I'm getting a line. I'm going to drop it right there. And as soon as I do that, I have a bookmark in my bookmark bar already. So why do I like this? Because this, my friends, is prime real estate. Prime real estate for you and prime real estate for your students as well. You can have them go to sites. So maybe one of the sites that you're going to use is discovery.com. And you're going to use this with your students a lot. So instead of them typing discovery.com every time, you can have them type it one time, or click a link in a Google Classroom, or click a link that you put in a chat box, and then show them this process of clicking on the lock, or because it could also be an icon, it's usually a lock, and pulling it down into the address bar. Or I lied to you, the bookmark bar, and then you have it in there. Now, I also did something else. It's kind of magical. I made folders on my bookmark bars. So I can actually click and drag these into my folders. And I can also just create a folder. So when I right click on my bookmark bar, I can add a folder. And it'll say, what do you want to call it? And I'm going to call it stuff, because that's a great name for something on my bookmark bar. And there it is. So you can see I'm moving things around. I'm just clicking and dragging them. I can move them around, right? So that's a really easy thing to do. And I can also delete one. So I can just delete them. Some of you may have a managed bookmark folder here from your district. You can make your own, and you can have students add to them as well. So you can also edit these. So if I know I know what this is, and I know this is a Google site. I know it's my Google site. I don't need it to have the full long name, but what I can do is I can right click on them. I can edit my bookmark name, and I could take it just down to KVB, and I could just backspace that and save it. And you'll notice it gets much smaller. So when something gets smaller like that, it means that I can get more stuff in there. So I'm going to and I can delete this. So all good things are right click away. You can always add, you can subtract things. The way that I use this is I take the things that I'm working on right now. So like, for example, this, I grabbed the wrong thing in my brain, and I pull this down in here. So if this was a presentation that I was working on right now, I click and drag it by the lock and I pull it into my bookmark bar, so it's right there. So even if I close it and I get waylaid and I'm on something else and I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know where that is, I literally can just open it right back up. I don't have to go find it again. It's a simple way to have my pieces there that I like. And you'll notice also that one of the other things that I have done is I have taken some of my bookmarks right down to just the icons, because I know what my icons are, so that I can go through and I can just click on, like, this is my iReady one, this is my remote learning folder, this is my Google Keep, this is my OneDrive, this is my Gmail, this is my Drive, this is my calendar. So I know where these things are and I know what they are by icon, so I do not need to go through and have a full name in there taking up space. I can have them that way, and that allows me to get more information in there. It's a really good trick for your kids. Next thing. So extensions install over here at the end of your Omnibar, and you will go to get them this way. I am going to try to install one that I tried to uninstall yesterday and see if there's a new version of it. So Print and Friendly PDF is the name of what I'm looking for. I think it may have changed its name, and that's why I can't find it. No, it's still there. For some reason, it's just not working. So what I would do is I would click on this right here, click right on it, and it'd say, do you want to install them? I'm actually going to remove it because it's not functioning correctly. And now I'm going to add it. So I'm going to walk you through, and I'm going to stop right here, because when we talk about adding extensions, I have to talk about EdLaw 2D, and really anything that you see me install or add, I have to go through a policy with our DPO, so our data privacy officer, and you will as well. Anything that you install on a device, we must make sure that it is not sharing PII of our student, so personal identifiable information. So you will probably have to ask your DPO for those kind of things. I'm going to just walk through this process. I'm going to add this extension. It's going to go through. It will ask me questions. It's going to say it's been added, and then it's the pieces. So it may ask me more information because I've used this one before. You should read through what it's saying about when it's using and if it's using data. That's called a click-through agreement. We want to be very careful with them. Okay, next one. Next is the waffle, which I think most people are very comfortable with the waffle. So here's your waffle. So this is probably what your waffle looks like, though. So hopefully you'll have noticed that I just made a change. Hi, Carol. You'll hopefully notice I just made a change, and I changed the way it looks, right? So your waffle is customizable. First of all, you don't need this right here. Oh, I copied the wrong thing. Sorry, Carol. I want that link, not the one I just sent in there into the chat. You can customize your waffle. You don't need this account. Put this down here. Get it out of the way. It's not anything you need, because that you can get up here. And we don't really need that redundancy. It's fine, Carol, not a problem. So you can move your waffle pieces around. So move it to put what you need the most. You can see what I'm using more than other things, right? So I have my pieces up where I need what? I don't really need Hangouts anymore. I need Meet more than that. And you can see I have the pieces right there, quickly available at fingertips. I don't have to worry about these kind of issues. So I like moving the waffle pieces around so they're much more comfortable, and I have what I need at my fingertips. So let's talk about Chrome settings. Chrome settings. So I'm going to go up into my snowman, my traffic light. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go into settings. So for most of us, when we talk about settings, we have to decide whether we want to sync things or not sync things. So I'm going to turn everything off right now, and then I'll show you what it looks like to turn it back on. And it's going to be like, oh, nothing's synced, and I'm going to, it feels so uncomfortable for me. So I'm all signed out. Hopefully I can sign back in. Oh, okay, let's make sure I have it. So should have probably checked that. Whew, make me a little nervous. Sometimes I don't know. So what I'm doing is signing back in. So I'm signing in and I am figuring out where I am, and it's going to say to me, okay, it gives me all of these pieces that I have. Yep. It's going to walk me through some interesting things. If you've ever gone through a a data hack, you've had your stuff stolen, or you've ever had your Facebook hacked. Somebody tried to get mine last night or yesterday during the day. You understand this process of going through and resetting passwords and all of those pieces. So I am going to manage my Google account because that's what I'm trying to, sorry, I did the wrong thing. I'm going into my settings. Coming into my settings. My sync is turned off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my sync. And what does that mean? Yes, I'm in. So here's sync. You may not want to turn on as much as I do. You can decide what you want on and what you want off. So you can manage what you sync. So over here, I am not syncing apps. So the sync means that I am going to have my phone, my Chromebook, my laptop, a desktop, any device that I plug into with these Chrome settings look the same exact thing. That's really important for me because when I go into a district and I want to do a training, I may need my bookmarks here. I may need some of the extensions. All I need to do is sit at their computer, log in with my account, with my Chrome account, and I'm able to get all those things because it will pull all of my bookmarks and components out of the cloud, sync it to that computer. And then I come in and I have them here. So that's really important to me. So with the concept of syncing comes the concept of not syncing. If you notice right here, I am syncing my passwords, okay? So this Thursday, I am gonna go to Albany. I'm staying at the Staybridge Hotel. At the Staybridge, they have a couple machines there. Now, notoriously, hotel computers are really, really bad, but I may to sit at a computer, one of their computers, and use it for something. And typically, I will go in, I will sit down, I will go to Google, I will turn on my Chrome, I will log in, it will sync everything. And then when I am done, I will unsync everything. And one of those things is when I unsync on a device I'm not accustomed to being on, it will say, do you want to remove all of your bookmarks? And I say, yes. And I want it to wipe out everything. Really, really important. So that's one thing I could do. That's if I needed like a bookmark or something. If I just needed to use the computer and it really, I knew where I was going to go and I didn't need anything else, I could sit at Chrome, I could open an incognito window and I could type anything in I needed and I wouldn't need to worry about it. So those are two ways to use Chrome for the betterment and the good. So I just relinked my data account and you do have, so right in here, you have lots of ideas what you want to sync. So you notice that I turned off sync. I am not syncing everything. Once I toggle that over, it gives me some different options. So if I sync everything, it looks like this. If I customize my sync, and you notice that I turned off apps basically because apps are turned off. So I decided to do that early just to be used to not having them at my fingertips. So you can make choices about what you want to sync. You may want to sync history, you may not want to. You may want to sync passwords, you may not want to. There are some things I definitely want to store for passwords. There's other things I do not want to store for passwords. I don't store my Amazon. I don't store my my bank. There are certain things I do store. There's certain things I don't store. And then I also use a password manager for anything that's related to districts PII because I have a lot of I have a lot of confidential content on my laptop that I tried to be very careful with. So I hope that just be careful of when and where you sync. So we also talked, when we talked about bookmarks and we come back over to my bookmarks, I want to show you the bookmark manager. So from the old days of some of the old pieces that are out there, and I'm going to collapse these on my side. So if I just look at my other bookmarks, here's all the other bookmarks I have. And you can see that if I come into Google Expeditions, I can open it. So if I click on it, and it'll show me that I have one thing in it. Well, I'm sure I could have that in another folder. So if I double click on them, you'll see what's in here. And I have folders set up. So I don't want you to think that I am like perfect at this because I'm not, because you'll notice I have bookmark bar. My bookmark bar is kind of a hot little mess, right? I have lots and they come off my bookmark bar. But what I did recently is I went through and I cleaned them up, because when I used to come over here to my bookmark bar, I had like 80 more things down there. And what I did is I went through and I cleaned them up. I put them in a folder. If they're not in a folder, I probably don't need them, with the exception of Engage New York. Okay. If they're not in a folder, I probably don't need them. Or they're just things I use very, very rarely, but I want to make sure I have them. Some things I only go to a couple times. So really take some time, clean up your bookmarks, make these little folders. I know it's a pain in the hiney. It really is, but it does make our lives a lot easier. So if you click other ones, and all I have to do is, right, you can come in, you can open all your bookmarks. My gosh, that would take me forever. It's not like 8. I'd have like, oh, so if I wanted to open all the bookmarks in a folder and see what they were, that is super helpful. If you want to go through and clean them up, that can be helpful, but go slow. Don't open a ton, because you'll slow your computer down a lot. So this is a way to go through and kind of clean up your bookmarks. And this, what I did is I showed you how to go through and see the bookmark bar, so you have that option. So let's do a couple tricks with tabs. So your tabs have some nice little tricks that they will do for you that will make your life super easy. So I can right click on a tab. So anytime I right click on the tab, it's going to give me options. I can make a new tab to the right. So it'll go right here. And if I wanted to put my drive here, so I wanted to not have my drive come all the way over here, because if I do Control N, it will give me a new one. If I go Control T, it'll also give me a new tab. Control N will give me a new window. So it pops a window in front of what I had. But if I put something here, I could grab it and then slide it in if I wanted to. So that's the first thing. The next thing is it will reload a page. So why would I want to reload a page? Well, so the last couple of days, Google's been a little on the wonky side. So I've had to reload a page. So I just come down here and I will reload a page. I can also duplicate a page. I think that's used a little less frequently. I can also pin a page, probably my favorite. I can pin a page. So if you notice what I just did, I pinned the page and the page went from a full tab size down to a little itty bitty one. So when I pin a page, I can't delete it, right? I can't close it, right? I cannot close it. So that's a real great value to have. And I'm going to put a little trick down here. So trick, because I didn't put it in the notes, and I think it's a good one to have. So I'm going to close this tab right here. I'm going to close this tab, the My Drive tab. But I'm like, I have that moment. I go, oh crap, I need that back. Because I do that a lot, right? You guys have probably had that moment where you close a tab and you're like, ah, oh, snakies, right? Control Shift T will open that tab. Oh, no. It's not a file transfer. It's Control Shift T. And if they just, yep, I was like, whew, there we go. So it will open the tab up that I just closed, and it will do it in perpetuity. So I'm going to just do it that for a few times. So if you have little visual issues, you may want to close your eyes because you see lots of blinking. So you'll see what I just did. I did a whole pile, including a full tab set that just opened behind you guys on my laptop screen. So what's really valuable about that is like you can go backwards. You're like, oh, I know I had that tab open a few minutes ago, but I don't know what I did with it. I don't know where it went. And it will open lots of them. So that's one of the things. You can also mute a tab. Okay, so I can pin a tab and I can mute a tab. Why would I mute a tab? So I have a lot of people ask me that. So if I come out here to YouTube, I'm in the middle of watching a video, right? So I'm going to start a video up. Let's just say, let's see what comes up. We'll start this one right here. So the video starts to play and I'm like, yeah, that's all really good. But I just decide to mute it. My boss walks in, I can actually mute it. It can still continue to play. So instead of just hitting that and down here, the mute, I can actually mute it up in here. And then I can just remute it or unmute it later on and I can see it later. Okay, so that's just another option that you can do. You can mute and unmute tabs, which I really like. I love pinning tabs because I can't throw them out. So here's a trick. I can also do this. I can right click on it and I can close all tabs to the right. And then they will all close automatically. Usually people look at me and they go, pew! That's like a little bit of mind blown because you can have them all close really quickly. I love that one because it's a quick one. So this is one I learned the other day and I have to just remember. So Control 1, Control 2 Control 3, Control 4, Control 5, Control 6, Control 7, Control 8. It will work across 9 tabs. It will work your way across the tabs. So if you if your hand is on the keypad already, and some of you know that I always keep my left hand is always on the control button because I'm very used to doing like Control Z, which is undo, Control copy, Control paste. I'm used to that. So my hand is always there anyway. And sometimes it's just easier for me to go up and say, hey, I need the 3rd tab. I can just click on 3. It's not, you can't specify what they are, but you can, the order they're in right now is the order that they go in. That's a nice one to have. For students with disabilities, that's a nice one because sometimes it's easier than remembering, or students who may have some motor skill problems. It might be easier for them to click a number than it is for them to go up and to click on a tab. So that's a really good one to have kind of at your disposal. Closing, you can close all other tabs. So if this tab was like in the middle here, I could close all other tabs. You can't put a pin tab in the middle, by the way, but you can also unpin it. So if it was in the middle and I was like, yeah, I don't really need everything else, I can just close all the other tabs that are around it. Saves you a lot of time. I'm sure some of you are like tab junkies and you have like a gajillion out by the end of the day. You can get down to like 6 you need. So if this first 6 you need are the ones you need, you go to the 6th one and you close all the others to the right. And it just really does clean up your screen and keeps you going. So that is what we've talked about, the importance of logging in and using Chrome, understanding that layout, know how to get to your settings over here in the ... and then how to make bookmarks in multiple ways. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I told you we were going to be done early. It doesn't happen very often. So some of you are like, oh, that is true. And I am open for questions. So I'm going to unmute you all. So feel free to ask any questions. It's going to be all kinds of background noise. If you don't have any questions, please make sure you signed in on the chat bar on the side. I think I see 9 of you. And I will be sending out the link and the video later in the day. So feel free to ask any questions you may have. If not, we're done. Thanks, everybody. Okay. Oh, can you pin on a Mac? Oh, Kelly. Hello. Can you, so control click, so command. Use the command, Kelly. Does it let you to go up and do that on your Mac? I did it on my daughter's MacBook the other day. Try that. It's okay. Not a big deal. Gotcha. Welcome. Will it let you do that, Kelly? You can just tell me. I'll look it up. I don't know. Wait, it's in a tab.
Oh, are you there?
No, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm having some technical difficulties here, but I tried just so command and then click on it.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything to it.
This is how. Oh, you can pin sites on Safari. I should have put pin tab. I wrote pin a tab, a tab. I don't understand why I didn't read that. On Chrome on a Mac. Right click on the tab and choose pin tab. I gotta love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta love it when it tells you something like that, right? So I'm gonna put a link in the chat for you, Kelly. Okay.
Okay.
All right, right there.
All right.
I mean, it may not be as simple as that because they just tell you to right click on the tab. Love it. It's not command. That's a set of keyboard shortcuts for Chrome that may be helpful for the Mac. Okay.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Right. You're welcome.
Have a good one.
Yep, you too. I know I missed somebody. Carol.
Hey, Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Joe. Sorry. For the first 10 minutes, I don't know why I kept connecting, and I could see your slides, but I couldn't get audio, so I finally came in through another tab.
Okay.
There were a couple of bit.ly that you put up there. I found one was the presentation. Was there anything else that I need to go back to?
I will be sending them to you later.
Okay.
So you'll get, once I get the video back, I will send you a link to the video and the bit.ly to the presentation. And then I'll have your attendance marked as well, but at that point.
Excellent, thank you. And I had a question that might be appropriate for something later. I think you mentioned you have another session that I maybe missed when I was looking at the schedule, but I'm not really knowledgeable about add-ons.
So add-ons and extensions. So let me share my screen quick and I'll show you. So add-ons are components that are literally added onto the app. They only exist in the app. So like in Slide, you'll see there's an actual tab setting for add-ons. So when you come in here, there's things that you can add in. They still send you to the web store. And then you can, they increase the functionality of the app.
Okay.
And they, so there are different ones for slides, for sheets, for mail, for docs.
That makes
right.
a lot of sense. Yes,
Okay.
I ended up in the Google Forms trying to enter math fonts, and that's where I got stuck. And so this would, if I put that add-on, it would only be for Google Forms then?
Yeah. So what you're seeing, like if I go to Forms, some of the add-ons are very specific to just one form or one app, but some of them now, let me go back in here into the Slides one. Some of them are increasing their functionality. You'll see down here like Lucid Chart. I don't know if you can see it, kind of small, but
Yes.
it now works across 4 different apps.
Oh, I see the icons there too.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're starting to change that. So like this one, Flaticon, which is an icon one, is starting to, it'll work across like Forms, Sheets, Docs, and Slides.
Thank you. Do you have any concerns about security or performance issues with those?
So I don't, but I know that sometimes texts do, so they get a little wonky, but they're not grabbing PII because their functionality for the app, it's kind of like, you know, a little extra tool in the toolbox. But I do, when I'm looking at them, I will say this, when I go through and I install them, I do look at the number of users and I don't take anything under 4 stars.
That makes sense. Thank you.
So, although like Pear Deck, right, it has 10 million users and it's ranked at 3.9. It's got 10 million users. Okay. It's when things are like, you know, oh, they have like maybe, you know, 30 users. That's when I get a little wonky and I'm like, yeah, I'll pass off. Like maybe this one here, Hypatia, right? Oh, and that's a math one. And that may be the, so this one, they did not want to give me this one, Magic Rainbow Unicorns, because it really has no functionality. It gives me rainbow text, right?
That makes sense.
But I was like, I want it. I was like, what's it gonna hurt? They're like, true. So it kind of depends. Like if I was a math teacher and this is something I wanted, this might be one I would look at.
Gotcha.
Thanks
very much.
You're welcome. Okay, thanks everybody. If there's no more questions, I'm going to just stop the recording and I hope you have a great day.